Hey, Don here. Okay, just testing this my new camera with the YouTube Live within the YouTube website. You know the way you can do it that way. I've always used OBS Studio. I forgot the name of it when I tried to say it, and because then you can do camera, multi cameras. Use desktop, everything. I don't know what you can do with this. I think all you can do is just the camera. Looks like it. Um, but this is on the desktop computer, not on a mobile phone. I knew it's been out for several years, and I knew you could do it on a mobile phone, but my phone's too old. The Android operating system is too old. I might be able to update it, but I haven't felt like messing with that. They're old enough that the manufacturer, I bought them 3 or 4 years ago, and they were already, manufacturers never sent out an update since I bought them. I got them for $15 each, quad cores they're only a gig of RAM, but they're quad cores and pretty good phones. But anyway, I finally bought a camera, and I've done a couple of videos on it. It's the brand they gave it was Komery, like Komery or something like that. And one of the main reasons I bought it is because it has a USB video output, and you can plug it into your computer and be a webcam for you, for things like this. And what I've been doing is using my phones, and I use an app called IP Webcam that will stream them over the Wi-Fi, and that's pretty cool because they're free. Well, they're free from the computer, but now you can run. I can run around with them as far as the Wi-Fi will reach for about 10, like if you're lucky, 20 minutes. Depends on how hard they're working. I'm trying to keep that from looking stupid there. I guess I ain't gonna ever stop looking stupid. But anyway, so like right now, this one's plugged in and on the charger. But this is how I have to leave them. I bought some longer cables, some 10-foot cables, so that I could keep them plugged into the charger and carry them around. And I usually have them on a tripod. But one of the tripods is holding that camera right now, and it's probably the one that's probably the tripod I'll use on it most of the time. And anyway, the good thing about that is more mobility. Well, it's kind of going to end up being the same because this one will go about 20 minutes. They say. Oh, I've run it down the first 2 times I used it on battery only, and it ran about 20 minutes and it takes 2 batteries with it, so. It ran, they'll run about 20 minutes. And so it's about the same as the cameras, but it's a little better. They say it's 4K. That's why I put 4K in parentheses in the title. It's a 13 megapixel CMOS sensor that's in it. And of course, they did say that in the specs when I bought it, but and I knew that they did bump up. They try to bump up the megapixels through software in a lot of cameras. They don't just do it in the Chinese cameras. I've seen when I was shopping for cameras, I saw some brand names. I don't remember if it was. I was just looking for the best specs for the best price, and this was 109 when I bought it. I don't know if it was well, I mean, 300 was the cheapest I saw any Sonys or Canons or Panasonics of the lower end ones, but some of those. They were saying, they would have like a similar deal. I don't remember what the numbers, but they would have a lot lower sensor than the megapixels they were claiming the camera would do. So it evidently is beginning to be a standard way to do it, or has been for a few years now. I didn't notice it because I wasn't shopping for a camera, but boy, I hate when my glasses get all reflecty on there. I don't notice it much when I'm not looking at myself, but I'm watching myself now. Whenever I'm doing my videos, I can kind of see, I can kind of see that it kind of tries to blind me when I'm putting my head right there, but it's uncomfortable to look up or down like that all the time. So kind of weird. Let's see. So anyway, yeah, I can't hear myself. So, well, I know I'm not getting any audio, but I imagine That's something else. OBS Studio has a meter in it, you know, a digital meter, screen meter in the screen. But I could just be talking and nothing and it not working. I mean, usually I'm using you can see it here. I'm using my SM58, going to my Behringer 802 mixer, and then it goes into the VF effects unit, then over to the computer. And that's how I get my, decent audio. You use compressor and a noise gate and all that in the effects unit. And of course, if you don't hear me, then so good. Now there's an icon for a microphone there, and then there's an icon like a right curved right arrow. Don't know what that means. I would click on them and see what they do, but it'd probably kill the stream or something. And this, like I said, first time I've ever tried this because I didn't have a camera. The over, streaming your cameras over the Wi-Fi, the YouTube app wouldn't pick them up. It had to be connected to the computer, either be a laptop with a camera or, plugged in via USB or something for it to recognize it. And the all popular live chats there, it just looks pretty normal. Of course, nobody's even watching, I'm sure, but nobody talking to me. And it tells you how long you've been on, 6 minutes, 24 seconds. This is just, I guess, notes to self that I wondered if it'd be something I would like to use. I do know how I can see. I'm going to do that right quick because I want to know for sure that it's working. Don't want to wait till I go to my live dashboard. Of course, you can't see. I'm used to in my videos. I can just switch. I have to remember to switch, but I can switch to desktop view or a combination of a camera and desktop, whatever. I've got different scenes set up. Okay, now that says offline. Okay. Well, then maybe if I go to my channel, it will, I'll be able to see it on there. That may be a separate section. But normally, and that says live now, like usual, right there, the first top thing of my channel. So I guess that's the only way to see it. Yeah, there I am. And, oh yeah, I stopped talking to listen, and then the guy there, he quits talking. Okay. Silly guy. I try to listen to you and you stop talking. Okay. I do that every time I try that. So, yeah, it's working good. Sound is good, just like normal. I also have a couple of lapel mics that wired lapels that it has a mic input on this camera. That's another reason why I went ahead and got it. A good thing too, because the onboard mic the sound is horrible on it. I almost sent it back right when I first got it, but I ended up keeping it. And I've tried one of the lapels, the older one. It was better than the onboard mic, but it was a little distorted, like it was overdriven, and it's all automatic. There's no control, so I can't turn it down. But my other one is a dual of my lapel mic, and it's let's see if I can. Yeah, I think I can just get the whole thing down here. I started to plug it in before I did this video, but I thought, well, I don't know if what it's gonna be like. It could be terrible. So I've got a little bag here with everything in it. It's a little bag that it's something my buddy gave me years ago, and he likes those things. He's a photographer, and he would wear those. He had all kinds of them. That one's like a free one you got. I guess I don't know where he got it, but it's one of those short. If you live around where I live in Fort Worth, that's a eye doctor in Fort Worth, around Fort Worth, Texas. I think there's several of them, chain of them or something. Anyway, this is long, about 16-foot cable, and there's different adapters to go. That one goes in my phone, but I believe I'd be able to take that one off and just use that one. That's right. That's a 4. See, this is a 4-pin, a TRRS connector. Looks looks like it's a TRRS that way too. It'll fit different brands of phones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I guess there's another adapter in probably my little bag here. But that would just be a TRS on the camera. That's pointing to the camera. Anyway, it's kind of cool. It because this is really expensive too. What did I pay for this? $20 or $25. And it has a better sound than my older one. My other one was a single, but it's got two. I've got these clips on there to, I clip the clip on my pants to keep the wire from going everywhere. It's just a paper clip, those kind of big, heavy-duty paper clips. Pretty handy for a lot of things. See, I let it slide down and then clip the wire to my pants. But I just use them both, hang them on my shirt. But you can use one for you and one for another person. Or sometimes when I'm like doing videos, working on computers, and I'm trying to find a sound or show, where there's a noise, like a noisy fan or something. I've taken the one off and putting it up to the fan, and I can still talk on the other one. So it's kind of handy, but it has a better sound. It's not too far, off from how from my SM58. Well, it's a different sound. And I don't like it as much, but it's it's a decent quality sound. And also, oddly enough, with these TRRS, see, everything on your mixer is either TS tip sleeve or TRS tip ring sleeve. That's what those R's and S's stand for. And I tried every adapter I had, and I could not find one that would plug. Well, my old one, I don't think I tried it with this one, but it shouldn't be any different. But anyway, and that's not what I really want to do with it. I don't want to be tied to this mixer. But I couldn't get it to work on the mixer. If I could, then it could go through the compressor and noise gate and everything, just like the SM58 does. But OBS Studio has built in the software, there's a compressor, noise gate, and I use those in there. So they're pretty good, pretty decent. The only thing I don't have is there's about 3 reverbs. This is really a guitar effects unit, this VM. I bought it back in the early 2000s. And behind me, you can kind of see my guitar bag back there. I played with the guitar over the years. I'm not a guitar player. I never got any good at it, but I used to mix sound for bands. And so I know, I learned a lot about all that stuff. But anyway, it'd be nice to go, have that mic go through that. Then I could really compare this one to that one. But because I do have 2 mic channels and then 2 more. It said it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 2 mono channels and 2 stereo channels. They call it an 8 channel. There's 6 channels with knobs, faders on them. And then there's some other inputs and outputs. They actually, I think they call it an 8 channel because of all the different things you can put in it. But anyway, you could hook up 2 stereo, say music devices or whatever, and then 2 mics at the same time. No problem. But kind of got off of my story, but this is the one I want to try on there and see if it would. What I'm thinking is it doesn't have quite as. I'm thinking that it maybe. I think it's not quite as hot of a signal as the other. Seems like I noticed that when I first got it, that I had to gain the. When you plug them into the phones, it's auto, just like this camera here. You can't adjust it in the phone. I even kind of looked for software, and I didn't really find anything except for a couple of them that, like you can just turn the volume. It's really for listening, though, not for the input. Yeah, it's for the output, not the input. But anyway, in OBS Studio, you can gain your mic inputs and stuff that way. In any audio input, you can gain them or bring them down, up or down or anything. So that's where I set that, and then I get it set and leave it, And I leave it is most of the time. But anyway, there is basically, I keep thinking I'll show you but I'm used to being able to do that. There is basically faders, in software faders, and then there is a gain. And so the gain I set and leave, and then if I do need to raise or lower the volume, then I would do that with the faders in the front part of the program, not up in the settings, you know. But so anyway, thinking long story long, thinking that this one might just natively, because of the two mics on the long cable, have a little bit lower of a volume until you know, straight in to your device. Then I'm thinking maybe if I plug it into the camera, it will sound, it won't distort the audio, unless it's just really bad. I'm afraid the problem, I don't think there's anything wrong with the hardware mic on that camera. I think it's these, you know, I mean, these cheap mics, they're $10 mic, you know, that you can buy, like these lapel. That other one was, I think I did pay $10 for that first one. And this is the one that would get me into the camera or anything. It would get me into the mixer if it worked. That'd be funny to find out, wouldn't it? See, I could theoretically. Oh, I don't have the adapter. I don't have an adapter sitting here. Getting sidetracked. Anyway, if I had, if I plug this in here, that I have done that with a computer. I know that works in the computer, so it should work just fine in this camera. And I don't need this other adapter. But then I would have to also go from 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch. That's, I know the newer stuff is not measured in inches, but from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch in my world, 3.5 millimeter is a little bit smaller than 1/8 inch. So you can tell that in a lot of devices. It'll be, some of the older things, it'll be loose and not really stay in there real good. But anyway, I could put it in this yeah, that's the let's see, TRS, yeah. I could should be able to put it in this TRS input, but the thing is the pinouts are different for different purposes. TRS gives you well, this is a mono mic, so it might theoretically it would work. But you know, usually when you have TRS in phones and all this stuff, or TRS has 2-channel. TRRS in phones has 2 channels for right and left in output to your ears, you know, headphones, and then the input for the mic. It's all combined. In the mixer here, TRS is this is a mono channel. When it comes to pro audio microphones and things like that, microphone mixers, that is all still, this is a mono channel. So and it also has a separate gain. You can't quite see it in the picture, but it's right up there on this one. So that's why it gets tricky. They're for different purposes. That's why the pinouts can't just all be the same. They're not actually the same type of signal, not the same thing being sent down each wire. And like the other stereo channels, I did try them before with the other mic, and they couldn't get it to work on there because they are stereo channels. That would be closer to what you're doing, well, not here, but if you had a, that would be, that is a stereo channel. That's what it's looking for. Anyway, there's more than one input for each channel, though. I can't see it now. I don't remember exactly what's there. But the big thing about these stereo channels is if your signal's not hot enough, you're not going to be able to use them for a mic, because unless it's a pretty hot mic, because you don't have a gain. But I have over the years been able to use them for some mics, but I mostly used Mackie mixers almost always when I was mixing. And these Behringers came out in the mid 90s, I guess, and or when I started remember, and they were not very good at first, but they got a little better and a little better, and they're okay now. And since everything is made, cheaper, made to the price point these days, to the extreme, then nothing's the quality that it used to be. Those Mackie boards used to be just, there was people like say bulletproof and all that. You throw them around, take them from show to show, and for years and years, and they would I never spilled any drinks in them or anything, but I have seen mixers with sticky on top from drinks being spilled on them, and they still work. They might get a little noisy and make static, and if you just run them up and down, they usually clean them up. And then if you had some electrical cleaner, you could spray that in there and clean them up even better. But not to say that won't mess them up. It will. And then it's really, they're pretty tricky to get apart and clean. Back in those days, I wouldn't have really tried it. Well, I wouldn't now because I can't see and it can't hold anything, but I'm old. But with 4 gig RAM, and it does fine with OBS Studio for hours and hours, as long as I don't run too many other apps. But all I have running is Firefox, and Fedora 28 is what I'm running. Oh yeah, machine's getting ready to lock up. So doing this with this, and I started to close the browser, but then I suppose that would end my live stream. I clicked over on I have a system monitor on. Let's see. Firefox is using 12%, 8%, 7%. Yeah, it's using quite a bit altogether, all the different things. And what happens is it starts using up, there it is. Something's using up all the memory. Something's using 1.6 gigabyte out of 3.7 gigabyte. And then, of course, the other things that are running. It's this stream is what it is. So I wouldn't be able to do this for any time at all. I can do it for 5 hours if I want to. I've done it, not meant to, but I've streamed for 5 hours quite several times. I think a couple of times 6 hours with OBS Studio. And the machine can handle it. So that is the best streaming software. So this is the thing I needed to know. Actually, it's not easier. Once you get OBS set up, you just go. You just click start streaming and go. With this, I had to go through menu, answering questions and doing all this stuff. And I knew they had done that. Luckily, yesterday, a day or two ago, I did some live streams, and I could still just click go on OBS. So thank you, YouTube, for not screwing that up. But to start this, I had to answer a bunch of questions, put in the titles and all that, and I just have a preset title on and all that stuff on the. Might be less the next time because this was the first time, and it was asking me. Like, it did have one good thing. It said, do I want to make new settings of all my preferences? And, is this for kids and blah, blah, blah. And I clicked, well, not just for kids. I still had to answer that. But it said, do you want to make new settings or use your old settings? And I said, use my old settings. And so that got by probably 10 more minutes of filling things. I'd fill out about three blanks or something. But anyway. I don't like having to do that every time I drink. I better quit before my machine locks up. I'm going to have to. Usually when this happens to my machine and all the memory gets used up like that, I will have to it's best to reboot it. So get everything on. Get all the cache cleaned out and all the memory, all the crap deleted out of the memory that might want to hang around in there. But I'm running Fedora 28, and 30 is out, and I need to update, and I haven't done that. But that wouldn't have anything to do with it running any better, I don't believe. Never has over the years. Fedora puts out a new version every year. So that's next if you don't know what Fedora is. So I was going on and on. Have any plan? I was just testing. Probably messing my stream, I would imagine. Oh, are you sure you want to end your stream? Why, yes, I do.